Good morning and welcome to day 4 of the 2022 IBSA Goalball European Championships Group B. This game this morning will be between Hungary and host country Portugal. Let's go over the lineups for this team with 2 minutes remaining until the game starts. Let's start with Hungary. We have number 1, Annette Julia Mazai. Number 2, Monica Lucasi. Number 3, Lilia Hadobas. Number 4, Felicita Simon. And number 5, Cindy Horvath. For Portugal, we have number 1, Eduarda Estevido. Number 8, Jessica Castro. Number 7, Leticia Gomez. Number 5, Leonor Silva. And number 2, Maria Silva. Eye shades will be checked in just about actually 10 seconds, and then we will get this game underway. This game this morning kind of determines if Hungary will be heading into the semifinals later tomorrow. I believe the semifinals start as the 4th place team, along with teams like Ukraine, Finland, and Greece. This morning, if you guys have any queries, any questions, feedback, you can go ahead and just leave that in the chat. I will be periodically checking it and responding to any sort of questions or feedback that you may have. We're looking to see an exciting game this morning. Portugal is looking to pick up their 2nd win, and Hungary is looking to continue on with their 3rd win of the tournament after beating Spain and Italy. All right, looks like we're about to get underway just now. The eye shades have been checked, and the referee on the table side will be placing the ball into Team Hungary. Let's see on court for the players. On Portugal, we have number 1, Eduardo Estevido, number 8, Jessica Castro, and number 5, Leonor Silva. A dummy run by Hungary for the first shot. Thrown across court, just deflected off of Castro. Silva will throw the first ball for Portugal, spinning around and throwing across the face of the center. Just blocked. We're waiting to see which players are on the court for Hungary right now. That was just thrown by number 1, Annette Julia Mazai. Left wing Leonor Silva spins around and throws a smooth ball again across the face of the center, but blocked on Hungary's left side by Mazai. The usual center for this game is Hadobas from Hungary, who also takes that center position right now. We're just waiting to see who that right winger is for Hungary. Mazai throws across the court and into the corner on Leonor Silva. A gap opened after the center just slightly pushed that ball in. So Hungary will take an early lead with 11 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock. Eduarda Estevida over for Team Portugal to collect the ball and brings that back to her side. She is going to be throwing directly into center. Horvath or Hadobas, quick shots and almost again deflected off of Castro, but this time collected by Silva, who's going to throw that ball across court again, saved by Mazai from Hungary on that left wing. Mazai throws a cross court again on Silva, who swings her feet out, but the ball is just wide and will be placed back in. Estevita, I thought she was going to head over to that other side, but she's not. So Silva throwing a straight shot, no spin this time, directly into the center. This time the ball will be thrown from Hungary's left wing. I believe that might be Simon over there who threw into Portugal's left gap. Eduarda Estevito straight down the line at Mazai, but collected. We're currently having an equipment check of Jessica Castro in center, who needs to retie her shoelaces. All three players from Hungary in back center. Generally in other games, they're performing a dummy when they're standing back there together, which means that all of the players are standing back there. One of them will take the ball and the other two will make a noise distraction before the throw is performed to try to distract the other team on the other side. Looks like there's confirmation from Hungary that Simon is on that right wing, number 4. She will take the ball this time. Or that's what it looks like. Her and Hodobas are both holding on to the ball. Simon, that's not Simon. That is Cindy Horvath. Just had the dummy run, but unfortunately was angled out for that throw. So Horvath will give Silva an opportunity to set up a new throw. Silva again with a full cross-court shot on Mazai from Hungary. Mazai throws a cross-court shot on Silva into that left corner, but Silva's there to block it out. She has sort of an untraditional way of playing defense, sometimes swinging her feet over to that line and sometimes blocking with her hands. A unfortunate mistake made by Silva. That ball going between Silva and Castro, and Silva just leaning back slightly. That ball hitting her feet and going into the back of the net on the left side for Portugal. The ball will start with Estevita, who's taking the ball back to the right side of the court right now. She's running up and throwing into the center, blocked by Hodobas, who passes that ball off to Cindy Horvath on that right side. Horvath winds up and throws directly down the line, blocked by the feet of Silva this time. Sometimes we don't know what we're getting by Silva, if it's going to be the feet or the hands. Silva, left wing for Portugal, throws across the face of center, or attempts to, doesn't fully get across. Blocked by Hodobas and passed off to Mazai, who throws across the face of Castro, but this time blocked by Silva. Silva throwing this time straight in front of her in that gap between Horvath and Hodobas in center. Hodobas, quick shots right back to Castro, who passes to Estevita. Estevita setting up on that right post and throwing into the center on Hodobas, who's passing over to Cindy Horvath on that right side. She'll back up to the post and throw a ball a little bit skipping over to that left side, blocked by Castro on Portugal's left defense side. Given over to Silva, who throws into that right gap for Portugal. Quick shotted by Hodobas from Portugal. Almost another goal off of a deflection from Castro, but Silva is there to recollect the ball. She will throw the ball out in anticipation of potentially getting a 10-second penalty this game. For all of you guys who do not know goalball, a 10-second penalty occurs when the ball hits the player, the clock starts, and they're not able to get the ball past half court in that 10-second time range. This time now, Mazai for Hungary will throw the ball down the line, but Estevito is there to block that ball out with her chest. Estevito taking that ball in that right post. She's going to throw again into that gap between Hodobas and Mazai. Deflected off of Hodobas, but into Mazai. And recollected. Mazai throws into the center where Castro cleanly makes the block this time. given to Silva, who spins around and just hits the right corner of Hungary's defense with Horvath, who blocks the ball out off of a deflection. Horvath giving the ball to Hadobas now, who's taking that ball from that right side, throwing into that gap between Castro and Silva again, that troubling gap that has already had so many deflections. Silva takes that ball, a close ball this time, blocked by the feet of Hadobas, and then just out. Horvath taking the ball from that right side for Hungary, taking her time, winding up and throwing a skipping shot down into the hands of Castro, who gives the ball off to Estevido, who seems to fumble it a little bit but has no issues going back to that right post. She's throwing again into that gap between Hadobos and Mazai. Hadobos passes off to Mazai, who's going to throw a ball cross court, but just a little bit too much angle and is not able to reach Silva before going out. So Silva will have a full 10 seconds to set up the shot. Silva setting up on that left post, spinning around, throwing down the line, but blocked by Horvath this time. Horvath doing a perfect down the line shot and just past the feet of Silva, who swings them over just a little bit too late. Hungary will now gain another advantage over Portugal and will take a 3-0 lead. It may be time for Marcia Ferreira to call a timeout to regroup the girls from Portugal to try to get a little bit more of an adjustment. Eduarda Estevido out of center this time, moves Castro out of the way, and she throws into the center for Hungary. Hadobas, who makes a clean block. Hadobas this time is going to return the ball herself. Portugal is taking out number 5 team captain Leonor Silva, who's given up the 3 goals in this game for Portugal. Something unexpected from Silva, as she's usually having quite good defense, but unfortunately maybe today's not her day. She might be nervous going in against the team from Hungary, who's looking to make a debut in the semifinals tomorrow. So she will be taken out, and we are going to see her mother, Maria Silva, go in. Silva, who's generally playing that left wing position but can also play right wing, is heading over there right now. Silva also has a good defense, so we're going to see what she can do while she's on the court. This is her debut in this competition. She has not played yet. Eduarda Estevida off of play, goes from center to that right side, but just doesn't angle her body back onto the court before releasing that ball, just throws out. Now Hungary will have an opportunity to make a dummy. This ball will be taken over by Mazai from Hungary, thrown across the court at the substitute Silva, but blocked out easily. She'll be taking this ball left-handed. One of Portugal's only left-handed players throws into that gap between Hadobas and Horvath. Quick return by Hadobas to Estevida, but Estevida that makes the easy block, throws the ball down to Mazai, who's going to throw another cross-court shot over at Silva, easily blocked by the stomach and chest of Silva. She's going to back up this time and throw a ball across the face. Horvath, Hadobas quick returns for Hungary. And to Estevida again. Estevida's going to set up a shot and throw down the line, but blocked easily by Mazai for Hungary. Mazai's going to throw into that gap, just blocked by the hips of Castro. Castro returned the ball to Silva. Quite an aggressive pass, but still collected. And Silva this time will throw into the right gap for Hungary, but collected this time by Hadobas, who's going to pass over to Horvath, who's going to throw out. Just not enough of Horvath setting up on that goal and making sure that her body is totally aligned. Silva this time down the line. A lot of good shot selections from Silva since she's coming from the bench. Horvath from that right post, throwing across into the center, but blocked out by Castro. Not a lot of variation that we've seen so far in this game. A lot of blocking, backing up, and then throwing again by the players of both Hungary and Portugal, who are not moving across the court to be able to offer some variation in their offense. Mazai throws across the face of Castro, but just blocked by her arms. Handed off to Silva, who throws again down the line on Horvath. Horvath, who will back up and throw across the face of Castro, who blocks the ball just with the tips of her toes, will pass back to Silva, and Silva will throw across the face of Hudobas, just missed by her, but blocked this time by Horvath in that right position for Hungary. Almost a goal for Hungary's Horvath, while Eduarda Azevedo dives into that gap and leaves her corner open, but safe by the angle of the shot. Azevedo throwing into the center, quick shot by Hudobas, but Azevedo is up for the block and getting back to her spot quickly. Azevedo on the right side for Portugal will take this ball from the gap, throwing down into the gap right in front of her on Hungary's left side, but an easy block made by Hudobas, who's going to pass that ball over to Mazai, who's going to throw a cross-court shot, blocked by Silva, who's going to get up, go to her left post, and throwing a shot across the face of Hudobas. This shot was a little bit more struggling for her as she just dropped for that ball. Maybe another shot that Silva wants to consider throwing again through this game. Again, that across the face shot missed by Hudobas in center, but backed up by Mazai. Mazai from that left side throwing into the center, almost across the face, but Castro blocks this ball with her chest. A little bit of Castro, a little bit of Castro having trouble recollecting that ball as that bounces forward, and she's going to need to have another shoelace. Perhaps they want to consider tying her shoes, not tying her shoes, but retaping her shoelaces. Actually, at the London 2012 Paralympics, I had that experience where my shoelaces were coming untied all the time, and so our team physio taped my shoelaces. As crazy as that sounds. Hungary now, coming from the center from Hudobas, throwing into Silva, but a safe block. Perhaps Marcia Ferreira would have looked back at this game and started Silva instead of her daughter, Leonor Silva. Maybe not as much of an offensive threat, but doing pretty well herself on the offense, but holding some stability in the defense for Portugal. The ball is starting right with Cindy Horvath for Hungary, who just has a ball that just deflects off of the hands of Jessica Castro in center, almost over Silva, but at the last second out, Silva throwing a ball across the face of center again, but just saved by Horvath of Hungary. Hungary's coaching staff will call a timeout with 2 minutes and 46 seconds left in this first half. Hungary having a 3-0 lead. A couple of shots that are very close for Portugal to going at least deflecting off of the players for Hungary, but not close to the goal line yet, and quite a lot of opportunities for Hungary to score on Portugal. But since they've made the substitution, taking out Leonor Silva, a lot more stability in the defense for Portugal. Marcia Ferreira is going to have to come out with some more ideas for Portugal to try to score goals right now, because they're not exactly close to getting them on Hungary. A couple of ideas might be on this team from Hungary to try to go outside in with a little bit more speed into the gaps. This ball will be underplay again, with this ball being taken from the left side from Hudobas, who's throwing at the feet of Jessica Castro, who seems to be having a little bit of a harder time collecting balls that bounce in front of them. Passed back to Azevedo, who's throwing into that left gap between Hudobas and Mazai for Hungary, throwing into the center at Jessica Castro, who makes that block, but seems to be having trouble collecting and trapping balls. Passed over to Silva, who almost throws a high ball for Portugal. Just a little bit of lift on that ball, but safe. She released it far enough back that it didn't matter. Castro recollecting that ball and passing to Estevito, who's going to throw across the face of center, but just collected by the feet of Mezai, of Hadobas, passed off to Horvath, who's going to throw directly into center, saved cleanly by Castro, and passed off to Silva on that left side for Portugal. Silva throwing cross court, and this time a little bit too far on her angle, and the ball was out, which means that Hungary will now have a new opportunity with a 10-second shot clock. Mezai and Horvath meeting in back center. Horvath taking that ball from that right side and throwing down the line at Silva, who sets the shot up on that left side and returns back to Horvath. Horvath on that right post right now for Hungary. Thinking about throwing across the face of Castro, but just saved by the feet. This time recollected slightly better by Castro, thrown back to Estevito, who's going to almost throw a high ball for Portugal, but on the ground just in time. Mezai on the left post for Hungary, throwing into the center, blocked by Castro. A little bit of franticness for Portugal, who doesn't seem as confident in this game as they have in previous games. 3-0 down with 44 seconds to go in this first half. Hadobas will take that ball from the slightly right of center, but too much angle on that ball and will be thrown out on Portugal's right side. So Estevito will have her opportunity to try to get a goal in this first half before it ends. Estevito scoring 6 of their goals yesterday in the game against Spain, being their top goal scorer. Will try to make an impact for Portugal again, but unfortunately was not able to. This time Silva from Portugal throwing across the face of Hadobas, missed by her, but just collected in that gap by Mezai's toes. Mezai into the center for Castro. Castro off to Estevito. Estevita, who doesn't get a shot in time, off before halftime. So we'll have a 3-0 scoreline in this game between Portugal and Hungary. Hungary with the advantage. A lot of great things happen that half that Hungary can be excited about. Lots of opportunities taken, with team captain Leonor Silva having some crucial mistakes in that game, leaving her corner open for the first 2 goals, and then just leaning back on that third goal for that goal to deflect in to the goal. For Portugal, a lot of opportunities lie ahead if they can get their shots having a little bit more action and a little bit more accuracy in the second half. A lot of opportunities perhaps for substitute Maria Silva to make an impact in the second half. She is a left-handed player. Something really spectacular about left-handed players is that their throws do sound different in goalball. I myself am left-handed. I can also throw with my right hand, but I do know from other players who have played against me, and also myself who have played against left-handed players, that left-handed throws do sound a little bit odd as they're being released, just because you're so used to how many right-handed players there are in goalball. So Silva, left-handed, the mom of Leonor Silva, who is playing on that left wing, has a lot of opportunity, and being left-handed playing that left wing, she has the entire court open to her to try to make many offensive plays in this second half. Looks like Portugal will be staying the same with Eduarda Estevito, Jessica Castro, and Maria Silva in the second half, with all of their players coming back towards the bench. We have not seen Leticia Gomez out on this court at all throughout this game. We also are missing number 3, Marlene Brandeo, who is not making an appearance today on the bench. Not really sure why. We've seen in a couple of different games that one player from Portugal might be missing. As Portugal played yesterday, the day before, they actually were missing Maria Silva during a game due to her feeling unwell, but she's back today, and as you see, she's on the court making an impact for Portugal and hoping to make an impact in some offensive plays for the Portuguese women's team, who are the host nation for this competition and also the host nation for the World Championships that will be taking place in 3 weeks in this same venue in Matosinhos, Portugal. Hungary looks like they will also be staying with the same 3 players out on court. Let me just make this confirmation as we're looking at the teams. Number 5, Cindy Horvath, will actually be taking a seat on the bench, which means that number 4, Simon, will be entering this court to try to make a difference. She scored a lot of goals throughout this tournament for Hungary over on that right wing for their view. She throws a little bit more skippier balls, which means that the ball has the opportunity to hit a player, even if it's blocked, and with a little bit more topspin, go into the goal, into the back of the net. So maybe Hungary is looking to make that change this half to see how Portugal does with balls that are skipping or bouncing, but we have not seen that yet. So we're going to have to determine that as we go through the second half. Eye shades done being checked for both teams, and about 1 second left on this clock. This game is about to start, and it looks like Portugal will be starting this half with the ball. Let's see which player from Portugal is looking to take this first shot of this second half, looking for their first goal, in the hunt for their first goal to try to level out the score. Equalizing the game would be huge for Portugal. Right, so the referees just confirmed that Cindy Horvath for Hungary has been taken out and will sit on the bench for the second half. And we have Felicita Simon entering the court for Portugal. We're going to have Estevita throwing that ball first from that right side. This time she angles her body back in, throws into the gap between Hadobas and Mezai. They both chase the ball and then give up on the play, but blocked out. They'll have a good 7 seconds to throw that ball. A couple seconds taken off the clock after that ball was blocked forward. Mezai throws that ball out, maybe in fear of a 10-second penalty. Estevita again throwing across the face of center, just blocked by the feet of Hadobas. Handed off to Simon over on that right side of the court. She's going to spin around and throw a bouncing ball into the center, but blocked by the arms of Jessica Castro. She's going to pass that ball off to Maria Silva, who throws a ball that has a little bit more pace into Simon. There is some opportunity this half, maybe for Silva to try to score on Simon, who goes with her feet towards the line. Very hard for goalball players to block that line with their feet, not knowing how much room they have to cover in a block. Sometimes you just don't get it right. Ball thrown by Hadobas from center, blocked by Castro, and then passed off to Silva, who's going to throw just cross court, but this time blocked by Mezai. That full cross is not open. Mezai setting up on that left post. She's going to throw into the gap between Castro and Estevita, who almost have a collision with their feet but don't. And Estevito's throwing across the face of Hadobas, who's having trouble recollecting that ball and will pass the ball out, maybe thinking that their team might not have enough time to throw that ball. 10:33 left in this second half. The scoreline is still 3-0 for Hungary. No goal scored by Portugal yet, but they're hunting for their first goal. Silva in hunt for her first goal, throwing unfortunately into the center, one of the least likely shots to score in goalball. Blocked by Hadobas, passed off to Simon, who throws a ball at the table at half court. The ball was just too much angled to the left, and so the ball will be placed back into Estevita on the right side, who's going to take that ball, throwing down the line, but blocked by Mezai. Mezai backing off to that left post, looking at trying to score into that gap between Estevito and Castro on that right side. Both of them chase the ball, and the ball will be given to Silva, who's going to take this ball instead. Throws into the center, almost deflected up and over, but rolled over by Hadobas, who recollects the ball that was loose, passes off to Simon, who throws across the face of Castro, deflected up, but forward and out. So Portugal can keep that 3-0 deficit. Silva over to collect the ball from Eduardo. This is the first time in this game that a wing has gone over to the other side to throw. Great ball by Silva, just collected by the toes of Mezai on the left side. Opportunity for Silva to score. But Mezai also throws a shot that was close herself to scoring, but just collected by the toes of Estevito on that right side for Portugal. Lots of great opportunities here in this second half so far. 9:20 in this second half. A lot of time for both teams. Now Simon sweeping over to that left side, right side, from the right side to the left, throwing down at Estevita, but not close to going in as she blocks that with her chest. Another toe save by Estevita's ball, who throws into that left gap between Simon and Hadobas. A lot of opportunity there as Simon, Mezai is just getting there with her toes. Passed off to Silva now after a block by Castro. She's throwing down the line on the feet of Simon on that right side for Hungary, but just blocked, and she'll throw across court, but easily blocked by Estevito, who's going to block and back up to that right post. She's going to throw in that gap again between Hadobas and Mezai, and Hadobas tries to quick shot, but the ball just goes out. Silva over again for Portugal. Gonna take the ball. Nope. Silva's going back to her spot, and Estevita's gonna take the ball this time, trying again to throw into that gap between Hadobas and Mezai, but this time too far into the middle of the wing line, so an easy block by Mezai. Castro, who just gets a ball thrown to her in center, blocks the ball out aggressively. The ball will be placed back into Maria Silva for Portugal. Silva throws into that gap between Hadobas and Simon. Hadobas makes an easy block with her feet and will return the ball herself to that right side of the court at Eduardo Estevito for Portugal, who's going to back up to that right post and attempt to throw the ball down the line, but just collected by the arms of Mezai, who's over at that line. Portugal might want to consider throwing outside into that gap in between Hadobas and Simon. Now Simon into that left side, taking the ball from Mezai, going back to her spot. Opportunity for a quick shot was open for Castro, but missed. Mezai taking the ball from that left post. Simon over to take the ball once again. Another opportunity for a quick shot for Portugal, but not taken as Mezai is not back to her spot. A quick shot by Silva, but back to the wrong wing. That right side for Hungary was completely open as Silva took the ball, but they did not throw there. So another opportunity missed by Silva. Castro taking the ball herself this time. This is the first ball we've seen taken by Castro this game. She'll throw into the center at Hadobas, who makes a clean, easy block. And Hungary will call a timeout with 7 minutes and 6 seconds left in this second half. Still no goals conceded by Hungary, and Portugal still searching for their first goal of the second half and their first goal of the game. Nothing close on the goal line so far from Portugal, but a lot of shots that had the opportunity to go in. Marcia Ferreira surely has an idea of how Portugal can get their first goal of this game. A coach with a lot of experience to try to coach these girls. Portugal, interestingly enough, actually just had a coaching change. A few weeks before this tournament, they had a different set of coaching staff, and it was just changed. back to Marcia Ferreira, who used to be the women's national team coach in 2016, still serves as the men's national team coach, and now again back as the women's coach. A cross-court shot by Silva, now that we're back in play, blocked by Menzai on that left side. Menzai into the center, but easily blocked by Jessica Castro and passed off to Eduarda Estevida. Estevida from that right side, almost throwing a high ball, I believe, but just down on the ground before that 6-meter line, saved by Simon on that full cross, and Simon throws down the line, easily blocked by Silva, who's showing great defense in this game. Maybe a consideration for Ferreira to start Silva in this game instead of Leonor Silva on that left side, putting defense in front of the offense. As we say, defense wins championships. Ball thrown by Simon, a lot of pace on that shot, aggressively blocked out in the center by Castro, and the ball will be placed back in on that right side. Eduarda Estevida throwing off of play, but the ball placement was just not there as it was in the middle of the wing line, easily blocked by Mizai, who throws back to the feet of Castro, blocked forward, so she'll have to chase and recollect, try to throw that back to somebody. The pass a little aggressive, fumbled by Estevida, and just too much angle on that shot. It will be thrown out on Hungary's right side. So Simon will have a full 10-second clock, a new opportunity for them to search for their 4th goal of this game. She'll walk to the front line, spin around, and throw a bouncing ball into the center, but just blocked by Jessica Castro, who has to go chase the ball and passes back to Silva on Portugal's left side. She throws across court, but the ball placement again just wasn't there, so Mizai makes an easy block on Hungary's left side. She'll start on that left post for Hungary. Looking to throw that ball almost again, just a high ball by Mizai, who isn't able to bend down fully as she's throwing the ball. Hits Estevida, who backs up and throws a gap in between Hadobas and Mizai, just blocked by her hands. Maybe another shot to reconsider throwing with a little bit more pace on that shot. A confident block made by Jessica Castro in that center. Pass off to Maria Silva, who's going to throw a ball that just deflects off of the post and out. Portugal almost scored their first goal of the game with Maria Silva, but not exactly in the goal. Just too much angle on that ball and just hit the post and rolled out. Hungary got lucky. Mizai now on that left side, just throwing into the gap between Castro and Estevida on the right side. Estevida throwing into the center, easy block this time by Hadobas, who's going to pass off to the right wing. Felicita Simon throwing a bouncing ball into the feet of Castro off of a spin. Estevida chasing a block that she did not make herself, but is able to recollect, throwing the ball with too much angle out to the left, so the ball will be placed back in on that right side with Simon really close to the high ball line with the release of that ball, spinning around, lost a really great opportunity to quick shot from Portugal, but again not taken. Not really sure why. Maybe Marcia Ferreira doesn't want them to quick shot this game, but opportunities lie ahead if they do take the opportunity to quick shot at Simon, who takes a while to get back to her spot every single throw. Estevida cross court to Simon on that right side for Hungary. Hadobas is over there to collect the ball, take a throw off of Simon as she's taken the last few in a row. Hadobas is throwing into that gap between Castro and Silva. Portugal now is making a substitution. They're taking out number 1, Eduarda Estevida, and putting back in Leonor Silva. Silva, who is a native on the right wing, she prefers to play the right wing, could make an impact there this game for Portugal, potentially adding to the offense of this game as long as she can stay stable in the defense. Coming back in, the young player, maybe a special moment for her. starting in a national team tournament with her mother on court. So mother and daughter playing together. Maybe something she can look at in future years as a prized memory. She'll play on that right wing for Portugal with Jessica Castro staying in center and Maria Silva staying on that left wing. Castro will take the ball this time out of center, throwing a smooth shot in between Mezai and Hadobas, and that left a gap for Hungary, but just blocked easily by Hadobas. The ball will be thrown down the line to Silva. Made an easy block with her chest. She's going to spin around and throw a ball into the gap between Hadobas and Mezai, but blocked and passed off to right wing player Simon, who's going to move into the center to throw this shot. Bouncing ball she's trying to throw at Silva, but unfortunately is not able to reach her. Too much out on that angle on that shot, but now Hungary has conceded a 10-second penalty, taking a little bit too long on that shot. So Portugal will have the opportunity to score on this shot as long as they can keep it in. We saw a previous game of theirs where Portugal was not able to hit a penalty shot or capitalize on a penalty shot. So they're going to need to take a deep breath, dig deep, and really focus on hitting this penalty shot. They will be taking the shot against, I believe, Simon from that right side. Thrown into the center, but just past. That was actually Mezai, just past Mezai, who dropped and thought she was going to block the shot, but it just passed her. Leonor Silva with Portugal's first goal in the second half. There is 3 minutes and 13 seconds left in the second half for Portugal to try to get 2 more goals to even the scoreline. Silva probably thrilled with that goal, able to capitalize on the penalty shot despite the location of where it was thrown. Another close shot by Silva into Simon, just blocked and deflected, but helped and collected by Hadobas, who's going to pass the ball back to Simon. And Simon throws down the line at Silva, who throws across court, blocked by Mezai. And now Hungary will call a timeout to recollect their girls. Portugal with momentum, with a crowd behind them as well here. They will be searching with a lot of motivation to try to get these last 2 goals against Hungary. Hungary trying to refocus and stabilize their team defense, which has been strong this game so far. So we're going to be looking to see what exactly Hungary is able to do. If they have any new ideas, surely they'll be hunting for Leonor Silva, who gave up the first 3 goals in the first half, but this time in a different location on the court, somewhere she's more at home at. Mezai this time from the left side of the court, throwing into that gap between Castro and Silva. They overlap easily, and Castro will chase the ball and pass it back to Silva, who just is misaligned and just throws that ball out before her own high ball line. Silva, a very young player, getting her first taste of international experience. Ball thrown by Simon. She's not back at her spot yet, and Portugal needs to take advantage of quick shotting, but just has not yet. I'm not exactly sure why, but the opportunity is there. Castro will have her eye shades checked right now, so we will have a quick pause with 2 minutes and 18 seconds left in this second half. Portugal trailing 3-1. The ball is in the hands of Mezai over on Hungary's left side. Maybe an idea of how she's going to score with a fresh 10 seconds. It is very possible. Again, there's something happening in the center with Castro. Another eye shade check after the first one occurred. Very strange. Mezai now, we're back in play from the left side, trying to throw down the line at Silva, but blocked by Castro. She's chasing the ball and will have to recollect. An aggressive pass, but this time caught by Silva. Just not enough alignment from Silva off of that throw. So again, Hungary will have another opportunity at a fresh 10 seconds. Simon over on that left side. Again, not back at her spot and not taken the opportunity to quick shot from Portugal. As the coach, Ferreira, I would be so frustrated right now, unless of course she hasn't given them that information that they should quick shot. But so many opportunities for Portugal to take advantage of, and they just haven't yet. As a goalball player and now a commentator, I'm seeing this game and wanting to just pull my hair out at the opportunities that are being missed by the Portuguese women's team to try to equalize this game with 1 minute and 28 seconds left. Silva just makes a block that deflects forward. Castro will give the ball back to Silva, and Marcia Ferreira will call a timeout. 1 minute and 22 seconds left. Maybe she'll have the feedback that Portugal should think about contraing or quick shotting the player on the right side of the court, who's very slow at getting back to her spot after she comes over, and just maybe taking the chance of quick shotting that area of the court, even if they're not sure if she was the player who just threw the last ball. They haven't taken advantage of that opportunity yet. But it is one of the best opportunities that they have right now to be able to score a goal in this game. Silva standing close to that back center spot, looking to take this ball from the right side of the court, spinning around and throwing a skipping ball into Mezai, but just blocked by the shins of Mezai. Hudobas looking to take that ball, again looking to throw into the corner of Leonor Silva on the right side of Portugal, but just too much angle on that shot. Silva looking to spin around and take that ball, but just into that center region of the court, easily blocked by Hudobas. And passed off to Mezai. Mezai just throwing into the feet of Silva, which are slightly apart, almost going into the goal, but recollected, spun around by Silva, throwing down the line on Mezai, but collected with her arms. There's just under 50 seconds left in this game, and Portugal is still searching for that next goal. So Maria Silva over on that left side is going to back up and take a shot, throwing across court, trying to score again on the corner of Mezai. That is a no-chance shot. Even if it wasn't blocked by Mezai, it would have angled out by the time it reached the goal line. That ball is thrown by the center, Hudobas, but just blocked out by Silva in that right corner. Silva in the last 20 seconds of this game bouncing the ball, but too much in that region where it's an easy block for it by Hudobas to make. Mezai taking her time, taking time off this clock in the last 9 seconds of this game. Passed off to Silva, who's going to have to make one quick shot and misses the opportunity. 2 seconds left on the clock for the game, and surely Portugal cannot come back unless there are some severe mistakes made by Hungary. Hungary will not make this shot. They do make this shot by Simon, but Portugal is not able to win this game. Portugal earns 3 more points, and as you can see, coming into this tournament, they are absolutely thrilled with their 3rd win of the game. This loss for Portugal guarantees that they will not be entering the semifinals tomorrow, which is a big disappointment, I'm sure, for the host country, who had some big endeavors going into this tournament. But still, since creating this tournament, creating this team and having this team for the first time since 2016, Portugal should be happy with their performance of quite an inexperienced team, but still showing a persevering experience against Hungary, coming into this game as the underdogs. Hungary coming into this game with a little bit of advantage, but into this tournament as underdogs after their 2018 20th finish in the last European Championships that took place in Pajulati. They must be thrilled with 9 points, their third win, and now maybe securing themselves a spot in the semifinals as the 4th place team. Let's watch the rest of the games today, which will determine what the games will be tomorrow. And thank you for joining me for this game this morning. We had a lot of fun watching Portugal versus Hungary, and we will be back again at 10:10 with a game Spain versus Finland. So join me then just in about 20 minutes with this game, and we will see each other soon. Thanks again for tuning in. I am your live commentator, Amanda Dennis, and I enjoyed commentating this game for you. If you guys have any feedback, again, leave them in the chat of every single game, and I will try to reply as necessary. I will see you guys at 10:10, and thanks for tuning in. More water? Like a water bottle or more water, I don't know. I can also go down and get myself more water. So you don't need to, no?
Only water.
Yeah, only water. I'm going down.
No.
I will go get my water from down there. Don't worry.
I go for somebody.
I need to
You need to walk.
I